Hello everybody and welcome back to Bobo Foot Gaming. Today I wanted to try and do something a little different from my usual conquest heavy content and talk about a video that Cubs Fan Han released last night. I'm going to put a link in the description below, so feel free to check that out, check out his channel, give him a like and a subscribe. But he released a video ranking every Omicron in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So I thought I would do a video on where I felt he got his list right, or where I felt he evaluated the Omicron correctly, and where I think he's made some issues or made some incorrect assessments on the Omicrons. I do want to prefix this by saying I don't know Cubs personally, but he seems like a very nice guy, very entertaining, and, you know, a genuinely good guy. So I hope he doesn't take this personally, and I hope people don't think I'm doing this to take shots at Cubs at all. This is just a reactionary video to give my opinion on what Cubs is saying. So with that, we're going to go through the whole video now.
Happy Monday, Cubs fam. We are not here for rogue actions. I am sorry. We
really
have
nice
scheduling
intro,
conflicts, Heinzie and I, and we will be doing that tomorrow. But starting next week, we should get back to our normal Monday routine. For today, however, we have got 9 Omicron abilities that I am aware of as I'm filming this video right now that have been announced that we've been seen in game or we're seen on paper right now.
There's going to be a 10th release tonight for Darth Talon.
Omicron abilities to give you guys an idea of which Omicrons are going to hopefully be the best in the game and which Omicrons you may want to pass on. I actually highly recommend waiting and seeing how a lot of these things act in the wild, especially for Boba Fett, Sign of Jango. We haven't seen his character at all yet, just his kit.
Yeah,
and then there's some other Omicrons that we haven't had a chance to actually see in action yet, like Chief Nebit's Omicron, because since that's been live in the game, we haven't had a territory wars where people could use that. And so a lot of this is going to be very theoretical based on my bantering with people in my community and my own personal thoughts as we look at all.
Notice that he said banter with people in his community. He's already throwing them under the bus if he gets anything wrong.
Of these Omicrons from all of these characters. So we're going to go from the bottom to the top. In last place, 9th, we have got, let's see, it's not Dauntless, it is the leader ability from ROLO. Now look, this ability is actually pretty good, and you're going to notice here that I'm severely penalizing the Omicrons that only affect territory battles. Problem is,
so he's only penalizing the, well, he's really penalizing the territory battle Omicrons. That 100% agree with. Territory battles shouldn't require you to Omicron people to be able to clear through the content. Yes, maybe if your roster's a bit lower, that is relevant, but I think you're really wasting resources if you're investing Omicrons into territory battles.
I just don't see why I want to equip an Omicron for territory battles. If you are, you know, really hyper concerned about territory battles, then your list may be very different than mine. But that's just kind of the way I'm going to do this. But you get 35% speed. You get, you know, health recovery. There's a lot in turn meter. There's a lot of things in here that are great. And if this was applied in other situations, it actually might be a lot higher on the list because there's a lot here. But again, it's just because, is anybody really, you know, anxious to equip an Omicron first for territory battles? I don't know. So anyway, I would be way more excited about this if this was like a Grand Arena or a territory battle or territory war consideration. So ROLO and at 9th. And
yeah, so he's 100% correct there. ROLO's Omicron is very powerful, but it's very powerful for territory battles, which means it's bad. Fundamentally, it's a bad character and it's a bad Omicron. Also, to make the most out of it, you're taking probably already good teams to put onto a bad character and investing 20 Omicrons. Like, your Rebel teams already have 2 viable teams. You already have Mon Mothma and you already have CLS. So trying to invest into ROLO seems like a real negative.
And you may predict that Kyle Katern is going to be the next one because his as well, Blue Milk Run, is a Territory Battles Omicron. Now, this Omicron, though, I wish it was in a different game mode because it's actually really amazing. Enemies can't gain bonus turn meter.
Enemies can't gain bonus turn meter. So this is clearly designed to... You put this guy on a team and you stop all of that really annoying B2 looping in Lightside TB. It's sort of like a mini Jedi Master Kenobi in how it shuts off the turn meter game. And it's tied to his unique, so it means you can bolt him into any team. Again, it's TB. There's too many good teams out there that you shouldn't be investing Omicrons into making a team better.
And Force Influence can't be resisted. When Kyle Katern attacks out a turn, he gains an additional stack of Force Connection, which is really good, especially in Rebel Fighters for his kit. And the bonuses of Jedi Knight also apply to other Jedi allies. At the start of each encounter, all Jedi and Rebel Fighter allies gain 75% bonus protection until the end of the encounter. At the start of each encounter, Kyle Katern gains 10% turn meter for each other Jedi ally. This is amazing. Like, this is actually again, if it wasn't for the Territory Battles condition, I would probably rank this a lot higher on the list because there's a lot of synergy there with Jedi, turn meter, protection, just really good stuff in there. But again, Territory Battles.
Yeah, it's super powerful. Super powerful. Like, you could put him under Jedi Knight Luke or Jedi Master Luke, and you have another character that's both buffing your team and turning off the enemies looping against you, which is fantastic. It's just not required.
All right, those are the only 2 Territory Battle Omicrons that we've got in the game. Number 7 is going to be Dash Rendar. Now, look, this Omicron, it's probably going to be pretty solid if you've got the prepared team. The biggest reason that I am kind of docking this is a lot of people aren't necessarily using the prepared team.
So that's a comment I really disagree with. You shouldn't be judging the power level of an Omicron based on whether everyone in the game has the team or not. This ability itself should be judged on its own merit. Also, by the basis of, well, not everyone has the prepared team, how is this lower than Jawas? More people are likely to have the prepared team than the Jawas team. How is this lower than Boba when no one in the game has Boba? So that argument is really, really weak. Also, you don't need the prepared team. You can use any scoundrels with him and they gain prepared and then gain the buffs appropriately. So you could do Dash plus 3 powerful scoundrels, which includes the bounty hunters. There's some really powerful bounty hunters. And then you just put in Vandor to create that annoyance of Vandor's going to revive light side people. So I really think this is a really bad take from Cubs here, basing its ranking just on, or mainly on, whether people have the prepared team for those points.
Is this really going to take them to that much of a level where you want to now farm the prepared team? If you already have the prepared team, this may rank a little bit higher on the list. I'm giving a lot of conditions to this because a lot of it's in theory. But basically, if you lose prepared, you gain it right away. And so that's just going to keep that prepared up there basically the entire battle. And this is in Grand Arena. So really good implications of this. Pretty simple Omicron. Doesn't require a lot of text, but with what it provides, it's actually going to do a ton for that team And so I think if you've got that prepared squad, that's going to be a very, very solid Omicron to dish out.
I actually don't think that Omicron is very good. I think it's just going to give you that annoyance factor of Vandor constantly reviving, meaning you are going to get either an easy-ish win on offense, or you're going to have to take a team against that when it's on defense that can focus on killing the Vandor first. So it's not a very good Omicron in my opinion, but I think that Cubs' basis of ranking it where it is because of needing the prepared team is a pretty weak argument.
Number 6 is going to be your boy Chief Nebit. Now, this is a Jawa team. However, this Omicron has the potential to be absolutely, utterly horrifying.
Yeah, Cubs. This territory war specific Omicron could be horrifying. But who has Jawas?
In territory wars, when a Jawa ally deals damage to an enemy, they dispel all buffs on that enemy. For every buff dispelled, that enemy is inflicted with a thermal detonator for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled, prevented, or resisted. When an enemy takes damage from a thermal detonator, Jawa allies recover 5% health of protection, gain 5% turn meter, and there is a 50% chance that enemy is inflicted with a thermal detonator for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled, prevented, or resisted. This is going to take that Utini bomb to the next level. Now, right now, this is at 6 on my list. I'm very excited to see what this looks like in Territory Wars. I am sure there's going to be a lot of fun, exciting footage of what this is going to be doing. I'm not convinced this is going to make Jawas a viable defensive team in Territory Wars. Maybe it will, but what I'm really curious about is how many teams are they going to be able to Utini bomb on offense? And with that health and protection recovery, are we going to be able to now Utini bomb and survive? Part of the problems with that Utini bomb is that you get in there and you lose 3 characters, and so your banner game is pretty low. It's fun, but it's not really logical because the banner game just kind of gets wrecked in both Territory Wars and Grand Arena. But now in Territory Wars, will this get that to a level where all of these Jawas are surviving because these bombs are popping off, and you've got all this health recovery going on for each thermal detonator going off, health and protection. And so I'm curious if this is going to make this a viable counter and to make it a 20 banner counter in Territory Wars.
Okay, so a little thing about this Jawa team. Let's assume you have relic Jawas. It's pretty trivial to get your Jawa engineer to 350 speed when you factor in he's gaining 50 speed for being on a team with 5 Jawas. And he's then going to give 45% turn meter to everyone on the team. If you cascade in such a fashion that Jawa Scavenger is last, you can do a mass. 2 of your characters have a Master Spell in Dathcha and Jawa because they deal damage to everyone. You deal damage to everyone, it's a Master Spell. The Master Spells then inflict thermal detonators. So you have 2 options for 2 of those. You then put Scavenger last in your turn meter order. He can then blow up the thermal detonators, which means you're then going to get, if you fight the right team, 25 to 50% additional turn meter. Don't forget the Jawa engineer has given himself 45% turn meter from him going first. So you can potentially do quite a lot of stuff with this team. He's right. Cubs is right here on, yes, we need to see what it actually does in practice, but yeah, this Omicron has some merit if you have the team and you want to try it. Like it could be very good, but it is a bit early to tell.
So sitting at number 6. Now, number 5 is my most underrated Omicron that we have had yet. And in my opinion, that is Rose Tico's Omicron. Now, people love to hate on Rose Tico, both the character in the game and the character in the movies. I get it. But I want you guys to consider what resistance team you could be putting Rose Tico in and how that could benefit a Ray. And you can get away with putting Rose Tico in a Ray team, and sure, maybe Rose Tico isn't going to be doing a ton of damage, but her Valiant Spirit is going to be doing a ton for the Resistance team. Just listen to this. All other Resistance allies gain 10% offense for each exposed enemy. So if you can get several exposes out there, 10% offense on Ray, who's probably sitting at 12,000, 13,000 offense if you got her modded right. Holy crap, this could be a huge game changer for Ray on defense.
Okay. Okay. Right, so Cubs, come on, man, come on. So you want to try to buff your GL Ray by having Rose on the team to buff her offense. Okay, so let's start by looking how we're going to inflict exposes. BB-8, he can inflict expose on everyone with Illuminated Destiny. Too slow. Finn, Special 2, that can inflict expose on one person. Poe, Special, that has a 65% chance to inflict expose on each person. Resistance Pilot, his special can inflict expose. Resistance Trooper, his basic can inflict expose. So now we're having to build a Ray team on defense that's, using BB-8? We don't want to use BB-8 to try and inflict expose. It's too slow. We're using Poe? Maybe, but Poe's not a great character. Finn, single target expose, and a tank, it's not too bad. Pilot and Trooper, they're both not great characters. You're now building a bad Ray team to try to buff Ray's damage. The problem with that is that the teams that are already fighting Ray are just going to walk over this team so much easier. That part of how you've analyzed this part of the Omicron is bad, Cubs. This 10% offense gain for Ray is essentially irrelevant. It's just not going to happen. If you want that as a buff to a team, this is going to apply to JTR Lead or Finn Lead, but not Ray.
And that's not it. They gain 5% turn meter whenever a resistance ally scores a critical hit. That's a crap ton of turn meter gain. And think about all of that turn meter gain on Ray, especially. I do not think people are adequately considering what this Omicron could potentially do to Ray teams.
I don't think you've adequately considered what your Ray team will look like to try to make the best use of this Omicron. If we really want to look at the crit part, sure. So the crit part TM. Then we're having to build Ray Lead with Rose and Hero Finn, which is fine, but Hero Finn with the inspiration, creating the counterattacks. The counterattacks can crit. So you have more influxes of crit, which is more influxes of turn meter. Sure, that's really nice. It's cute. It's nice turn meter gain. But then you're still running Ray, Finn, Rose, and what in your last two slots? Because how do you run any meaningful characters in those last two slots, which are going to take advantage of the exposed part of this mechanic? Sure, you can maybe put Holdo in there so you have a tank. But if you're not putting a tank in there, then your team's going to be very fragile to the counters that already beat it. And even if you do put Holdo in there, and maybe you put in Finn, so then you have Holdo as a tank, and you put Finn because he has an expose, or you put Scavenger Ray because she can hit 2 or 3 times, creating extra turn meter. These are the sort of compositions which are going to get the most out of this, and they're still not double dipping well. You're either getting the turn meter or you're getting the offense gain. You're not really likely to get both. So you're investing in an Omicron, which, if you're looking at it for the Ray team, is only half functional. This looks far better if you're looking to do it on a JTR lead especially, or a Finn lead. It could actually really make the Finn lead quite good. But then I still think that this isn't as good as Cubs is rating it, because he's looking at it from a GL Ray perspective, and he hasn't really considered what the GL Ray team is going to look like once he's built around this Omicron.
I think this is very, very, very big, potentially, for those teams. So anyway,
for the Ray
pay
team,
attention
it's
to
not.
that
It's very
in
weak.
Grand Arena, guys. You see an Omicron roast Tico with Ray on defense in Grand Arena. I think that you might be in for a world of hurt.
You won't be.
All right,
You'll just walk
next
through it with your
up,
normal
number
character.
4 is your girl, Captain Phasma.
Best
Fire
Omicron.
at will. This is a territory war Omicron, and I'm just hearing great things about this Omicron so far. We have had a chance to see this one in action, and the reports are really solid.
Quick pause. I've done 2 videos on Omicron's Phasma, a before it was used and a what we learned after it was used in TW, and how you can adjust the team to make it fantastic. Go and check those out if you're interested in this Omicron, because a lot of people are underrating how good this Omicron is.
You get a plus 10% call, random ally to assist.
That plus 10% chance to a random ally to assist equals plus 30% chance for a first order ally to assist, which means they have a 90% chance to assist.
100 speed for Phasma. You've got the health recovery. This is making first order, and of course you've got the 7.5% turn meter gain. This is making first order a viable defensive play in Territory Wars. A very viable defensive play, catching people off guard. And if you put Hux in there, I think you're going to see much, much better results with this Phasma team. Nerfing the turn.
Wow. I mean, Hux in this team, great shout. Did a whole video about how Hux in this team shuts off all of the counters. Well, most of the counters, or hinders most of the counters as well. You can see that in my video, as I've already shouted out. I'll link those in the description too. But yeah, Hux on this team is legit.
Turn meter gain on the other side, getting the turn meter gain for yourself. There's going to be a crazy turn meter train there. You've got the bonus speed for Phasma. You've got all of that health and protection recovery. It's like a hodgepodge of like a boss lead with a turn meter like Rex kind of. And there's so many different things going into this, and
it's more like a hodgepodge of Chirper plus Veers. It's not really anything like Bosk or Rex, but sure.
I think that a lot of guilds are probably going to want to have Omicrons on their Phasmas to do well in Territory Wars. All right, now you guys may notice we have 3 left on the list, and we have not read any of Boba Fett, Scion of Jango's Omicrons. That's right, all 3 of his are ranking 1, 2, and 3.
And this is ridiculous. No one has used Boba. No one has seen him in the game because no one's unlocked him. And all 3 of his Omicrons are better than having a 560 speed turn 1 Phasma who makes your whole team then gain 100% turn meter. Okay, let's carry on, Cubs.
Even though we have not seen these in the wild yet, on paper, these Omicrons are so crazy that I would recommend saving all of your Omicrons so that you can slap them all on Boba Fett, Scion of Jango. I think
it is worth having your 60 Omicrons ready for when Boba is released, in case he is that good. But he's not going to be.
is going to be an absolutely devastating Territory Wars play for all of you out there. Now, if you don't care about Territory Wars, you can disregard this advice, but overall, I think it's going to be very solid. I'm actually going to pop over here to his kit reveal just so we can see all of them. Now, ranking number 3 on the Omicron list is going to be his unique ability. Let's see here. Fett Legacy. Boba Fett is immune to enemy ability block and stun and whenever he defeats an enemy, he recovers 100% protection, gains Bounty Hunter's Resolve until he's defeated. You got double action, dual barrage, and Bounty Breaker generate an additional stack of momentum when used, which is very good for his kit. And Bounty Breaker's debuffs can't be resisted or dispelled. It's very solid. Now, one of the reasons I'm ranking...
Yes, this is very solid. Immune to ability block, and stun. So Boba himself is immune to essentially being disrupted from doing what you want Boba to do, who is going to be the best character in the Boba team, however it comes about. Yeah, that's insane. It's so good. It's so good. Also, he generates double stacks of momentum. That's also absolutely fantastic, because a lot of his kit is around having those higher stacks of momentum. So if you can't get to those higher stacks of momentum, you can't take the benefit of having this powerful kit.
This last out of everything is mostly just because of how good the other two are, but also this protection recovery from defeating an enemy. We've seen that already with...
Yeah, sure, like the protection recovery from the Bounty Hunter's Resolve thing. That could have just been in his base kit, honestly. That's fine.
With Boba Fett, the Bounty Hunter's Resolve is very good. So it's nothing earth-shattering.
What you need to what Cubs isn't considering here is the line, when Boba Fett gains a stack of momentum, he gains 5% turn meter. So this doubling that is doubling his turn meter gain. Yeah, because gaining turn meter in Swogo isn't a really degenerate mechanic.
Kind of. I mean, it's amazing, but the other two are just a lot better, in my opinion. Dual Barrage is going to be number 2 on our list, which leaves his leader ability at number 1. But let's just talk about Dual Barrage here. This ability gains a new benefit based on the number of stacks of momentum Boba Fett, Cyan, and Jango has. So at 16 stacks, all Bounty Hunter or Scoundrel allies gain Tenacity up for 3 turns. And
yep, they gain Tenacity up for 3 turns, but that's the same as having 9 stacks.
Inflict Protection Disruption for 2 turns. That's huge. Protection Disruption, which is going to disable protection, immune to protection up, and bonus protection. So it is going to restrict them instantly from having a single ounce of protection. That's crazy. So if you can...
This is not crazy. He's got to get to 16 stacks. So if you say that's generously, that takes 3 turns. If you haven't got through a team's protection by the time this character has taken 3 turns, how is he doing something that's super meaningful? Like, yes, maybe you fight a Padme team and thus you need to turn off all of their bonus protection. If I'm using a triple Omicron character to beat a Padme team, I think I'm doing something wrong with how I'm allocating my offensive teams in TW.
Beat them in those 2 turns, they're gone. And these effects can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. I cannot wait to see how this interacts in the game. This is the first time we've seen something like, well, actually, no, we've seen something similar before, but having it in this ability the way that it is very unique for 2 turns, and I can't wait to see how that works.
I think that is his worst Omicron, and I think it's his worst Omicron by far.
All right, number 1 is his leader ability, Dangerous Reputation. This is going to make Bounty Hunters a very viable defensive team in territory wars, and probably maybe even a GL killer.
Okay, so let's pause there. This might make Scion of Django a GL killer. What's the basis for that comment? What in this kit says to you this will beat any GL? Not all GLs, any GL. If we're taking TW as the example, because this only applies to TW, the GLs you're going to see in TW generally on defense are Rey, Kenobi, Vader. maybe SLKR. You're unlikely to see JMK and unlikely to see Sith Eternal Emperor. How does this beat Rey? I think it's very unlikely to beat Rey. How does it beat Vader? I think it's really unlikely to beat Vader. How does it beat JMK? Again, really unlikely to beat JMK. And I know someone's going to say, well, you're going to stop all the bonus protection from Rey and Kenobi. Yeah, how many of your team are dead by then?
On offense or territory wars. Bounty Hunter or Scoundrel allies have plus 30 speed, plus 50% mastery. That's a huge buff. Plus 30% potency, max health, and max protection, and take 18% less damage. That first line is disgusting. That is dirty. That is unhealthy. Insert every explicitive in here for what that is going to do to bounty hunter teams. I cannot wait to see bounty hunters, or scoundrels for that matter, but especially bounty hunters under a Boba Fett lead.
Disgusting. Disgusting. Okay. Sure. So, plus 30 speed. Yeah, plus 30 speed's nice. I mean, it's the same as what Django Lead gives. Plus 30% potency. Yeah, it's not irrelevant amount of potency, but, you know, it's only 30%. Plus 30% max health and max protection. Yeah, it's a nice little buff. It's most of the bounty hunters, like if you look at normal Boba Fett and Django Fett, they don't have the highest health pool, so, you know, like, it's fine, but it's not great. They take 18% less damage. I mean, fine. 50% mastery gain is nice. Is it super impactful? Is it going to be super impactful? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be impactful. I don't know how impactful it's going to be, but it'll have some impact. Enough to call it disgusting? Come on, like this is a massive oversell.
With the Omicron, Boba Fett sign of Django gains an additional 60 speed and 100% max health and max protection. You're basically turning him into a GL.
No, you're not. Come on, like, be reasonable. He's getting plus 90 speed from the leader and this part of the text. Great. So that's putting him to a base. If you take out the leader part, you're putting him to a base of 201 speed, of which 60 isn't influenced by a speed set. Yes, he doesn't want a speed set. He wants a damage set. And yes, this makes him tanky. But it doesn't make him GL tanky. It doesn't make him close to GL tanky. And he's still slower, effectively, than a character like Gideon. Yes, Gideon's super fast. But Gideon's speed pales in comparison to GL speeds. So let's not oversell how this makes him like a GL. It doesn't make him like a GL. It just makes him more powerful. Like, it makes him a bit tankier. It makes him a bit faster. It doesn't make him like a GL.
Is what you're doing there with those kind of stat increases. Contract requirements and rewards are adjusted as follows. There's so much here. While buffed, damage a debuffed enemy 10 times. Enemies must be debuffed before the start of an attack to count progress. Only bounty hunter scoundrel allies can contribute to the contract. And then all bounty hunter allies have their payouts activated, and all bounty hunter or scoundrel allies gain 25% offense on top of that mastery, guys, mind you. Ignore taunt, and each time they deal damage with an ability, they also deal damage an additional time as true damage.
Okay, this payout is really nice. Like, the 25% offense is, yeah, it's a nice little bump. Ignoring taunt and then dealing true damage as well as their normal damage, that's pretty huge. Like, this, if you can get out ahead of a team, this is going to allow you to take over a fight very quickly because you'll be able to contract fast and then just start ripping apart the team by focusing on the lowest people. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think this is comfortably the best Omicron ability in the game. And even though we have not seen it yet in the game on text, it's solid enough. I am very confident putting this at number 1 on my list.
I don't think this is better than Phasma. Like, I really don't think this is better than Phasma.
I don't think there's an Omicron that compares to it. Now, I'm sure that we will get others that are up there. Starkiller, kit still yet to be revealed. Mara Jade, kit still yet to be revealed.
Okay, so I'm going to stop here because I'm going to do a little roundup. But Cubs made some good points in this video. But I think Cubs really oversold how good Boba's going to be. I don't think Boba's going to beat GLs. At least not the GLs that you genuinely see on defense in TW. It's possible that he could beat Sith Eternal Emperor, maybe. Like, I still think that's pretty unlikely, but it's possible. But the other GLs, I just don't even think this is close. Is it going to beat every other team you see on defense? I'm not sure it would beat Phasma. Maybe I overvalue Phasma. But I'm not sure this would beat the Phasma comp that my alt guild will be setting in TW. I think it would actually get completely savaged by it. It's plausible that if this was on defense, the Nebit team could defeat it. I mean, it's unlikely, but it's plausible. It sort of depends how things line up. I think Cubs oversold Rose. I think he didn't factor in how your splits and how your team compositions would look in against the normal counters you would use versus Ray. I think he looked at it from the wrong angle and should have tried to value the Rose Omicron based on the impact it could have to a JTR or a Finley team. So I didn't rate his opinion there very highly. He was right on the TB stuff. TB Omicrons are just bad. I think he got the order on the Boba Omicrons wrong. I think the special is trash, honestly. I think that by the time you're using that in a fight, it's going to have a relatively low impact. I think his lead is actually worse than his unique because his unique allows you to... Like, his unique allows a turn meter train. A turn meter train is far more important to teams in general in TW than just having raw stats usually. So, like, you could do something with his leader with, say, BAM or Dash lead, because Dash super fast and gives himself 20 extra speed. So you could dash into Boba doing his AoE. Boba's AoE crits everyone. Boba then gets a massive influx of turn meter because he gets the momentum turn meter and he gets the dash unique turn meter. The same thing applies if you do BAM lead with a super fast Queel. It's essentially exactly the same thing. So I think the unique is a lot more flexible than the leader, and flexibility is very good in TW. And it's not a double investment. You don't have to invest in the leader and the unique. So I think the unique on its own is more powerful than the leadership. I think Nebit is actually the 4th best Omicron. If you have relict Jawas, of course, I think that team is very good on offense. It can probably beat quite a lot of teams, non-GLs obviously, but teams that have buffs innately and you go first, it's going to be very good against, and there'll be scenarios where you're going to see those. So I would change the order to being Rolo last, Kyle second to last. I would have Boba Special below Dash, just because of the changes CG announced last night where GA is going to become more important for crystals, and Boba Special just isn't good. Like, I flat out think it isn't good. It's going to be non-impactful in my opinion, and I hope to be proven wrong because I really like Boba Fett. So I had Dash as 6th, I had Rose as 5th, Nebit as 4th, Boba's Lead as third, Boba's Unique as second, and Phasma's first. Because Phasma we know works. We're learning more about Phasma. We're going to see more in the next couple of days about how good or not Phasma's is, whereas Boba's is uncharted territory and it just doesn't read as good as Phasma's reads. But we'll know in January how good this is. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to link my 2 Phasma videos in the description. I'm also going to link Cubs' video. I would say you should watch the whole video, like from start to finish of Cubs' video, and give him a like and a sub. It's good for his algorithms, helps him makes money. Once I've finished recording, I'll play this to the end so it counts for his algorithms as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to join my Discord server, which will be linked in the description as well. Thanks, and see you next time. Bye.